Hello, and welcome to the 2020 Apple Valley High School Football Virtual Banquet. In this year and season of firsts, this is our first virtual banquet. I've been doing this for a number of years now, and typically when it comes time to prepare for a banquet, I like to look back on my notes from the previous ones and use them as a template, but really there is no template for this. Banquets are a bit bittersweet. They're a celebration of the season that we had and the team that we spent time together with. It's also a time to say goodbye to players and families that have invested a great deal into our program. Football is really unique in that it's one of the largest entities in our school. Providing a quality program for our school, our community, our families, and our players requires the support and contribution of many people. I'd like to begin with some acknowledgments and thank yous to those people that support our program and help to make it happen. First of all, I'd like to thank our building principal, Drew Mons. I'd like to thank the athletic director, Virgil Jones, the athletic secretary, Wendy Beckman, our athletic trainer, Aubrey Dudley, our game photographer, John Engler, and I'd like to thank the Booster Club, which is a large organization in and of itself. I'd like to thank everybody that served on the Booster Club board over the year, people that served on various committees, and those parents that volunteered for all of those things that make the experience of playing football special. We couldn't provide that program without the support of the Booster Club and the parents. In this year of firsts, this was also the first year that we had to monitor and manage who was allowed to attend games. So I'd like to thank Chris Weint for weekly management of the pass list, which was no easy task. I'd also like to thank both Todd Sandy and Derek Hansen, both of whom served as Apple Valley Quarterback Club president during this year at various times. Thank you for your leadership and your support of all the things that we try to do for our players and our program. There will be time later to recognize them, but it's important to recognize our managers, Madison Lentz and Tanya Schlichting. And I need to thank our coaching staff, all of the coaches that invest their time, their effort, and their energy to the point that we spend so much time together, they've become some of my closest friends. This year was unique in that at one point we weren't going to play, and some of those coaches made other plans during the fall. But when we got the sudden start, they dropped everything to come and coach football for our kids and our program. Having said that, I'd also like to thank the coaches' families. That time, effort, and energy sometimes comes at a cost, and it's usually the families that pay that price. But they're always there to support us and allow those coaches to be there with our players because they know that it's important. I need to thank my wife, Michelle, and my daughter, Ryan, who every year are my biggest fans. I couldn't do this without their support. And finally, I'd like to thank parents for trusting your kids to our program, especially this year. It's never been a bigger responsibility, and it's something that we don't take for granted. Our off-season started with the normal routine of players participating in our off-season strength and conditioning program or playing winter sports. And then suddenly in the spring, it became really clear that things were going to be different when things came to a sudden stop. As we looked ahead, we realized quickly that we'd be unable to do a lot of the things that had become important components of our program. This is the first year that I've been here that we did not attend team camp in the summer, which usually launches and kicks off our summer and helps us look forward to who we're going to be in the fall. Summer workouts were in question, and we ended up doing those outside. And things that were commonplace were masks and hand sanitizer and working out entirely differently without the benefit of being able to be in the weight room with all of our equipment. There were the challenges of fundraising. So from a Booster Club standpoint, that was a challenge, but from a team standpoint, it's one of those things that brings us together in the off-the-field activities that we do each year. Included in that was youth camps and the inability to connect with our youth players by getting our varsity kids in front of them in a camp format. Through all of that, the biggest question was asked every day: will there even be football? Each day, we just tried to convey the mindset that we'll just deal with what we know at this moment. The headlines that we shared at the beginning of the banquet presentation kind of tell the story of how that played out, but it really only tells part of the story. There were other headlines that would affect our team. As summer approached, most of us took time to celebrate Memorial Day in the best way that we could. But on that day, George Floyd was killed just down the street. It was an event that affected all of us in our own way. As I sat in my own home and watched that story unfold and the aftermath that followed, I couldn't help but to think how this was affecting our players and how it might affect our team. The summer was characterized by a global pandemic, unemployment and an economic crisis, political division, social injustice, and people coping with social isolation. Football seemed sort of small and insignificant at that time, but through all of that, our kids just kept preparing and waiting for their chance to play. I think in the times we were able to be together, we found comfort in the ability to spend that time together and focus on something that might or might not happen. It took some time, but as fall approached and the talk of the season that was to be or not to be swirled, I remember thinking that I don't know how this is even going to happen or play out, but maybe we need football more now than we ever have. When we got the sudden go-ahead to play in the middle of September, I remember telling the players, here's the deal. Everything is going to be different from what you've known until the ball is kicked. And it was. Virtually everything about how we do business was affected. During the school days, players weren't in class with their teammates or eating lunch with them. The locker room was managed by coaches so that players were wearing masks and that they were in here for a limited time in limited numbers. The same thing was true in the training room. Things that had become part of the game day experience, like morning meals and after game meals, while the parents tried to do the best they could, it wasn't the same. From a coaching standpoint, things like watching film and doing game plan meetings were entirely different. Bus rides were characterized by empty seats and quiet players wearing masks. During warm-ups, leading into the game, we were often trying to just work hard to maintain some social distance and some space from one another. During the game, we never one time went to the locker room at halftime. In many ways, the kids handled this a lot better than I did. From a coaching standpoint, it was a season filled with challenges. There was the uncertainty every day of who would be able to practice and would they be able to practice tomorrow. I don't know that for 2 days in a row we ever had the same group of players and coaches attend practice and games. Just as we had kind of settled in, the weather threw us a curveball when it snowed a great amount and it made our practice fields unusable. I think that we spent more time practicing in the gymnasium than any year that I can remember. During the middle of the season, one of our 3 home games was moved and we became a home team playing on the road. Throughout all of this, and in spite of the challenges, I had a friend in Illinois who's a head coach, and they had been moved to spring football. And he kept reminding me that we were lucky to have the opportunity to play. And he was right. Because every day when practice started, or on game night when that ball was kicked, we had an opportunity to block out all of those other things. It was a welcome distraction from all the other stuff that was going on in the world. Football provided something normal for all of us. During practice time, it was as it's always been, working on improvement and preparing for an opponent. Game time felt different until it got closer and closer to kickoff. Once that happened, I can honestly say that I don't recall ever noticing, the sparse crowds or the lack of the smell of popcorn or cheerleaders and those other things. Our entire focus was on the field, as it always is, and it was just football. Throughout the season, we took as many precautions as we could to protect ourselves and to protect our opportunity. We never really talked about it much, but we were all paying attention to the news, and we were watching other teams have their seasons affected by the pandemic. I think it made all of us approach every day and every opportunity to practice, regardless of the challenges and the circumstances, as a blessing. By the end, it kind of felt like we were on borrowed time, and maybe it was only a matter of time, but we just kept going to work, one day at a time. A football season is supposed to end on the football field, with a win or a loss. But in a season of firsts, maybe it was fitting that it ended in a Zoom meeting. As I told the local sports reporter, telling the players that their season was over was difficult and emotional because our players tried to do everything that they could to stay on the field. In the weeks that followed, I was reminded of a quote from Remember the Titans, when before the game, Coach Herman Boone, looking out at the field, said, "Yeah, This is my sanctuary right here. All this hatred and turmoil swirling around us, but this is always right. Struggle, survival, victory, and defeat. It's just a game, but I love it. We experienced all of that this season. The struggle, the survival, the victory, and the defeat. And I hope and I really believe that this season and the opportunity to play this great game gave our players and our coaches that sanctuary and a chance to be a kid and to do something normal, even under these abnormal circumstances. I know that it did that for me, and it was largely because of them. So today, my most important thank you goes to the players of the 2020 Apple Valley football team. Thank you for how you treated each other and held each other accountable. Thank you for your honesty and your empathy. Thank you for your competitiveness and your kindness. And thank you for winning with class and losing with dignity. Thank you for standing strong in the face of adversity. We needed football, and the world needs more of those things right now. At this time, I'd like to welcome the coaching staff to recognize our seniors.
My name is Matt Henches. I'm the wide receivers coach here at Apple Valley High School, and I have the pleasure of introducing our senior wide receiver, Caleb Hester. I'm very proud of Caleb's development. He is one of those players that showed a huge amount of growth from his junior year into his senior year and became one of our most explosive players on the offensive side of the ball and the special teams side of the ball. Caleb is going to be greatly missed with his dedication to the program. I don't think he ever missed a day of workouts all offseason, and it really showed. Caleb's going to go on to do some great things in his life, and we're very proud of him as a student and as an athlete.
Greetings, I'm Coach Martins, and I work with the offensive line. It's been a pleasure to work with James Bullers. James has a rare combination of intelligence, good size, and strength that every O-line coach wants in the offensive line position. But beyond that, James has work ethic to improve his own abilities and the leadership to encourage the entire line group to improve as well. A key member of the offensive line for the last 3 years, James gave us the flexibility we needed to move him around to different line positions. James has been one of the easiest players I've had to coach, and selfishly, I wish the team could keep him around for another year. I'm confident with the vast array of talent, particularly his leadership skills, ambition, and drive to self-improve, James has a very bright future.
In the years since I've been coaching here at Apple Valley, I've been lucky enough to be able to see Caleb Scott play each year, except for his freshman year, I think, but each year as he's gone through the system. And I can say honestly that there's not a player out there that I respect more than Caleb Scott, both with his mental toughness and his physical toughness. Really a guy I haven't met that's tougher than him. I was watching the Masters and the golf tournament, and I was thinking when I was watching Dustin Johnson kind of pull away and win the tournament, I was thinking how much he actually reminded me of Caleb. Not so much the height, but just the way they carry themselves. Doesn't matter whether Dustin Johnson gets an eagle on a hole or he hits one in the water. It's just kind of that same even-keeled attitude, and that's exactly what Caleb has and what's really needed in a leader and a quarterback. But Caleb, man, it was an honor to be able to watch you play, and really admired that toughness, and best of luck. Great job.
Well, now it comes to the exciting part of the show. What all you've been waiting for is the defensive line, and this year I was fortunate to have two very good seniors. First one is Anthony Gow. Gow, as we like to call him, was just a great surprise. I showed up in practice at day one, and I thought he had moved on, and there he was. And from a kid who didn't play a lot of football growing up, it was wonderful to see you come out. And that was 2 years ago, and you came a long way from stumbling on a practice field to starting and owning your position, and the willingness to play both sides of the ball. You'll be greatly missed, Gal. Good luck in your future, and thank you for everything you did. My second kid, Tashad Nelson, a.k.a. T, whatever he thought his name was, and we had to change that. And I just thought he was more fizzle than sizzle, but I told him, I said, you get to playing pretty decent ball, and we'll call you Sizzle, T Sizzle. By the way, if you don't make it on the football field or the wrestling mat, you can always get a job as an impressionist. I don't know how well you'll do with just impressions of me, but I'm sure your grandma, who we affectionately call Granny, and your mom, who we affectionately call Mom, will help guide you down the path to a comedy act. But in all reality, to see you grow from where you were as a freshman with size 15 feet and a 13-year-old body and stumbling all over yourself, you came a long way, and you've done a great job, and I know that you'll have a future playing football someplace, or wrestling, or whatever you want to do. It was my pleasure to coach you. You always had a pleasant disposition and the willingness to do anything to help your team, whether it be on offense or defense, or playing the 5 tech or the 3 tech, or jumping down at nose, and I may not have said it enough, but it didn't go unnoticed.
I'd like to say thank you to all the parents first for allowing your kids to play football this year. Overall, it's been a funny year. 2020 has not been real great, but I appreciate the help of the parents, and without you guys, we don't have a program. So thank you, parents. Okay, we have our 2 seniors I want to congratulate and pay a little honor to. Great year of coaching, 2 guys. First one is basically known as OG. OG, you were a guy who I'd have to describe you as a present under a Christmas tree on Christmas Day that you didn't expect, because we really did not expect you to be playing football at Apple Valley High School, and all of a sudden, bingo, you were here. And I'm glad you came. You had a great season. All the things that you did to help us in terms of special teams, solidify our Sam Backer position after we moved Noah Freed to inside linebacker was tremendous. If I could give you a big hug, I would, but we're doing this by Zoom, so here's my big hug to you. Okay? OG. My other senior is Charlie Harris. Charlie, I've had you for 3 years. Tremendous improvement. As much as anybody that I've had in my 45 years of coaching. Great person. I had you as a sophomore. It was slow going. The junior, you got better. And the senior, you got even better. Matter of fact, you expanded your role on this team to be on the Rhino team full-time during the year. First time I think you played offense in your high school career. One thing about you, Charlie, you can always be happy about is your last game against Henry Sibley. You were as good as you've ever been. It was your best game of your high school career, and that's one thing you can take back as long as you live, is that your last game, you played the best you could. And Charlie, the same thing. If I could give you a hug, I would, but I got to give you one of those Zoom hugs. So take care. Good luck to both OG and Charlie. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Coach Paulus. I'm the inside linebacker coach for Apple Valley football, and I had one senior that I'll talk about in a while. Before I do, I would like to just say how proud I am of this football team and how they handled the very difficult situation that we were in this year with COVID and all of the other things. They did everything that was asked of them in all aspects. And I'm very proud of them and proud of the fact that they kept this team together through the regular season. And through no fault of their own, or through no one's fault, we lost our last game. But we got 6 games in with an outstanding bunch of young men. I get to talk about Noah Freed. And I was fortunate to have Noah come to me this year as an inside linebacker. Noah's a 3-year starter on this football team. The first 2 years, he played at outside linebacker for us and was an excellent player. This year, we moved him inside, and he did an excellent job. I've been involved with Apple Valley football since 1985. In that time, I've seen a lot of great, impactful players. I think you would be hard-pressed to find anyone in my time with Apple Valley football who was as impactful a player as Noah Freed. This year, he led our team in tackles with 60, in tackles for loss with 12, and in sacks with 4. If you add that to the 2 years where he had multiple sacks and multiple tackles for loss, you'd be hard-pressed to find anyone ever at Apple Valley High School that was able to do what Noah did. I'm very proud and happy that Noah has decided to continue his football career at St. Thomas University. It's an excellent fit for them. They have an excellent program. They're moving up to Division I status, and Noah will make a great St. Thomas University program even better. I wish him all the luck in the world. He was a great player, he was a great captain, and we will miss him a lot. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Coach Ussett. I had the privilege of coaching defensive backs this year, and I also have the privilege to talk about the seniors that I coached within that group. I'm going to start this out by going with DeMarco Walton. DeMarco was a senior on this team that had a huge impact this year. He earned every rep he got. I'll never forget when he originally caught our eye in practice with his physical play. We were drilling with the receivers, and DeMarco put his head in there, made a very physical play, wrapped him up, and we said, we got to get this kid on the field. From there, DeMarco just kind of took off. He started with special teams, was making some contributions at running back as well, and it got to the point where we needed to get him on the field on defense. DeMarco ended up playing 40, 50 snaps a game. When you added these all up, the last 3 games, he was a big part in both of our wins. Not only that, he's a great leader within our school. He looks out for other kids within the school. He helps kids with their schoolwork. He helps kids stay on track. Just all around a fine young man with a bright future. The second senior I'm going to talk about is Elijah Beckfield. I had the joy of coaching Elijah this year and can't take a whole lot of credit for his development. I can't with any of these kids, but Elijah was a 3-year starter. The thing that I'll always remember about Elijah is he focused on the little things, the little technical pieces of being great at his position. He made big plays. The one that sticks out in my mind is this interception against St. Thomas Academy. It was on just a bomb, a 50-yard bomb. Elijah was one-on-one coverage, locked it down, went up, made a play over the receiver in the end zone. It was just a huge play in that game. One thing about Elijah and his skill set being a 3-year starter, he was always tasked with covering the opposing team's number one threat, their number one receiver. And a piece of his versatility is he could play in the slot or he could play outside as well. Elijah never complained. If a kid made a play on him, he got back up and he competed the next play in the next drive. We're going to miss Elijah, and he made a lot of big plays for us. The third senior I have the privilege to talk about is Bobby Jackson. What I'll miss most about Bobby is the energy and enthusiasm he brought every day to football. Bobby's a gamer. He's a kid that had this unique ability to really up his level of compete and want to when the game began. And there wasn't an opposing player Bobby was scared of. Every single game he brought what he had. There are a couple big plays in particular that I remember from Bobby. One of the biggest ones that I recall was our last game of the season against Henry Sibley. We needed field position. We needed to give the offense the ball in a position where they'd be able to strike. And we put Bobby deep in the return game. Never seen him run that fast when he did that play. Great return. We ended up scoring, ended up winning the game. And Bobby deflected the last pass on 4th and 10 to get us there as well. But we're going to miss Bobby's energy. We're going to miss his enthusiasm and everything he brings as a teammate. We wish Bobby well. The final senior I get to talk about is Austin Lamata. Austin, kind of like DeMarco, he had to earn his way on this team. This is a kid that did not start for this team prior to his senior year, ended up being a team captain and an all-conference player. Austin, he was all about the little things. He was all about work ethic, and every single play he made on the field for us this year was a result of his determination and his preparation prior to being on the field for that play. Austin was a great tackler. He was a physical player. Made some big-time plays for us, was a huge part in our victories this year, and we are going to miss Austin's leadership, and we're going to miss everything he brought to this program each day.
Mr. Riley Lamb, this is Coach Beeson, and I know I wasn't here this fall for you, and it disappointed me because I'm proud of who you've become, not only as a kicker, but a young man, and I really wish I could have been there to experience your senior season with you. And I know this was tough for all of you guys this fall, but nonetheless, you grasped it and made the most of it. And for that, I'm very proud of you. Not only as a young man, like I said, but how hard you worked in the off season and the short time we had together over the past summer, as awkward as it was with the pandemic. But like I said, you made the most of it and couldn't be prouder of you. And very grateful for the time we were able to share on the field. Unfortunately, as short as it was, but I wish you the best in your endeavors ahead. And again, thanks for being a part of our program. Thanks for being an Eagle, and I wish you the best.
There are 2 more seniors that we should recognize today, and those are our senior managers. Managers do so much work behind the scenes, but they're essential to the day-to-day functioning of our program. We've been fortunate to have a number of really great managers, and sometimes we take it for granted, but we realize how important they are on those days that they're not there. We're going to miss these seniors. Madison Lentz, Mad Dog, has been a manager for 3 years, and she had big shoes to follow following her sister, who was also a 3-year manager for us. But she was up to the task almost like she'd been trained in. By this year, in her 3rd year, it was almost like she was able to read my mind. When often She was one step ahead of me if I asked her to do something and she replied, "It's already done." She's so self-directed and took the initiative to just get things done on her own. And maybe the most important thing or significant thing that she did was to take on and organize the Team Tanya t-shirt fundraiser to raise money for her good friend and her family. That was entirely her idea, and she was the work behind that. Which brings us to Tanya Schlichting. Tanya had been a manager, but also had been an athlete. And she came to football every day that she didn't have soccer. For reasons that we're all aware of, she was unable to start the season with us. But it was incredibly uplifting for our players and coaches to see her come to practices and games near the end of the year, and I know how important it was for her to be there. Having her on the field for senior night was a bright spot in the season, and for many of us helped to put other things into perspective. Thank you to Madison and to Tanya. And now we'd like to acknowledge our underclass letter winners with Coach Flugum.
At this time, we would like to recognize our underclassmen letter winners. Starting with our junior class, JT Duff, Connor Elliott, Trevor Ersfeld, Jonathan Etter, Quinn Ewald, Tavion Gardner, Jaden Garrison, Michael Gonzalez Perez, Christopher Greaves, Jesse Giamfi, Hayden Hansen, Parker Muth, Sean Scheffelbein, Spencer Staves, Robel Teferi, Evan Tulashy, Timothy Wyant, and sophomores, Joseph Biggett, Andrew Chetta, Jaden Cunningham, Amir Evans, Cameron Hanna, Ian Howder, Dion Kelson, Joshua Martinson, Kevin Morataya, Eli Schlichting, William Townsend, Maxwell Weiss, Aiden Weens, Michael Woods. The student athletes that we listed here are the future of our program. We're excited about the opportunity to work with them for the coming months. As a staff, we're excited about the direction that Apple Valley football is heading in. We're extremely excited about this group of young men leading the way.
The next segment of our program focuses on individual awards, beginning with the Suburban Subdistrict Awards. These are voted on by coaches at a postseason meeting to honor the best players in our subdistrict. We have 6 players receiving all subdistrict recognition, beginning with Noah Freed, Austin Lamott, Hayden Hansen, Elijah Beckfeld, Connor Elliott, and Charlie Harris. We have 4 players receiving honorable mention: Caleb Hester, Dion Kelson, Othiel Green, and Tashad Nelson. Now coaches will be presenting team awards as they were voted on by our players and coaching staff. The first award I will be presenting is our Scholar Athlete Award. This typically goes to the senior with the highest GPA and epitomizes what a scholar athlete and a student athlete should be. This year's Scholar Athlete Award winner is Caleb Scott.
Hi, I'm Coach McKeag, and I'm one of the offensive line coaches here at Apple Valley High School. It's my honor to give the award for Most Improved Offensive Player this year. Last year, this player started on the JV team for every game and took on a new role in a new position that he had never done growing up. This year, as a varsity player, he was a leading receiver, he had 0 drop passes, and he developed into one of the best edge blocking players that we have on the team and in the conference. So for this year, our most improved offensive player is Hayden Hansen.
All right, I have the honor of presenting the Most Improved Defensive Player Award. This award is going to Austin Lamata. I kind of stated this before when I touched on our seniors. Austin's a kid that did not start until this year, his senior year. And one thing that strikes me about Austin is not only was there significant growth to get to this point, but every game throughout the season, Austin continued to get better. I said it before, but great work ethic. He did all those little things. He's the type of kid we'd have to say, quit running so many hills after practice, save it for the game. With his improvement each week, it culminated with the best game he had all season against Henry Sibley, week 6 in our victory. A play I'll never forget, Austin was in man coverage. We put him out wide. He was playing off. Beckfield was playing on the slot. Austin undercut a slant route, took it all the way to the house to score a touchdown for us. That play was a result of Austin's self-improvement as a player, him doing the little things he was asked to do when he was being coached, and just being a great leader, being ready to make a play when it presented itself. So much deserved award to you, Austin, and look forward to seeing what you do with your future.
How's it going, guys? I get the honor and the privilege to announce this year's Eagle Award recipients. This is a really special award. They say that football is the ultimate team game, and these two are the ultimate team players. It's a really special award. They're not only leaders on the fundraising, they're leaders in the weight room, on and off the field. You really can't have a team without guys like this. And also being an alumni, I really appreciate this award even more. This award is more than just a season-long award. You're really, by winning this award, you're really kind of cementing the legacy of past teams and then also future Apple Valley football teams. So congratulations, guys. This year's Eagle Award recipients are Austin Lamott and DeMarco Walton. Congratulations, guys.
Coach Henches again, and I have the privilege of introducing one of our practice players of the year. The practice player of the year goes to someone who shows up every day and works his tail off for the betterment of the team, and that person definitely is Spencer Staves. Spencer showed up day in and day out, gave 100%, did whatever we asked him, and ultimately made himself and his teammates better for it. So congratulations to Spencer Staves, one of our practice players of the year.
My first award is for the Defensive Scout Team Player of the Year. Sophomore who really improved from day one to the end of the season, looking for big things in the future, but again, a player who gave the offense a great look on the Defensive Scout Team. This year's winner, sophomore Will Townsend.
Lineman of the year. We looked at O lineman, we looked at D lineman, and then we decided on a dual lineman. A dual lineman that we didn't score out of our base offense once, I don't think, this year, but when we went to our heavy Rhino package, T-Sizzle or Tashad Nelson decided that he was going to jump in at guard and tackle, and we'd run behind him, and lo and behold, we'd score. On defense, you were a constant. People had seen your film from last year, and like I always told you, is if you did your part, those linebackers would make 100 tackles, and if you look at Noah Freed, he made 100 tackles and 100 highlight plays, but it was because you were eating up double teams and doing the unsung hero stuff. Again, it just tickles me pink to see where you came from, Tashad, and to the point where you were Apple Valley's lineman of the year, and there's a lot of good linemen that you look back at the people that have won this award, and they're great people, and they're great players, and it's great pleasure to me to have you win that award, Tashad. Good luck, and we'll see you down the road.
It is at this time that I will be announcing the 2020 Outstanding Player Award for Offense. The success of our offense depended on our ability to run the football this year. Connor Elliott provided that stability. He was our quarterback in our Rhino package that set the tone for our season against Hopkins, as well as our win against Park of Cottage Grove. Congratulations to the 2020 Outstanding Player for Offense, Connor Elliott.
Coach Paulus again. The award I am presenting is for the Outstanding Defensive Player of the Year, as voted on by his teammates. It's no surprise that the recipient of this award is Noah Freed. He's a great football player. He's got a great future ahead of him, and he'll be a positive influence on the University of St. Thomas football team. Thank you.
And then special teams. Okay. Coach Henches again. I am now introducing our special teams player of the year. This player was voted on by his peers and without a doubt deserves it. Caleb Hester was one of our most explosive players. You never know, anytime he got the ball, he could take it to the house or make a big play out of it. And it was very exciting to watch him get the ball in his hands on special teams and make plays for his team and for everybody else. So congratulations, Caleb Hester.
And the final award is our Team MVP award. This is a player who's been a 3-year starter for us. His role has grown every year, and we've asked him to do more and more each year. Before every game and after each game, when I've talked to coaches from opposing teams, this is the player that they raved about. This year's Team MVP is Noah Freed. I'd like to thank you for joining us for the 2020 Apple Valley Football Virtual Banquet. Seniors, thank you for all of your contributions to our program. You know the value of alumni, and I ask that you stay connected to Apple Valley football. Underclassmen, your time is coming. It's your turn to carry the torch, and remember that you stand on the shoulders of those that came before you. Ask yourself, what is your legacy going to be? To the parents, I would say get involved if you're coming back next year. It goes really fast, as you've heard from all of our players and coaches. And to all of you in these uncertain times, stay safe and stay healthy, and go Eagles.
I want to thank all the coaches. It was a season of challenges, of challenges for everyone. So I think our coaches were resilient and the players were also resilient. Just thanking the Booster Club, all the parents that were involved in that, all the parents in general, the players making it an enjoyable experience, an enjoyable environment. I had a lot of fun this year. Like I said, a lot of challenges, but it was really fun. It was fun throughout.
Thank you to everybody who made the COVID year happen. I know that was probably the hardest season to plan for, but really thank you to everybody, whether it's the past, present, and of course the future. Everybody's doing so much. The parents, the coaches, the players, the Booster Club, volunteers, everybody. Thank you for making high school football happen.
I'd like to thank all the coaches for being there as much as they could this season, because it was a quick turnaround for everybody. I'd like to thank the parents that helped out with whatever it was, with pictures, food after games, those little baggy meals right before the game, the day before.
Enjoy it while it lasts. Coach will always say this, and it will go by fast, and it really did. Just the day ago, I was just thinking I was a freshman going into varsity and going to the U.S. Bank Stadium, and it was a truly blessing. So yeah, and just enjoy it while it lasts.
So just don't take it for granted, and it goes by quick. I remember my 10th grade year, first day at practice like it was yesterday. So just live in the moment.
Take it very seriously. Don't take anything for granted.
I know it's kind of cliche to say it goes so fast, but you guys will realize next year when you're seniors, it goes faster than you think. Just be the leaders I know you can be. Be leaders in the locker room, on the field. Thank you guys, I really do appreciate it. You guys have been awesome. But yeah, just really enjoy it because it goes quicker than you think it will.
Just be ready for your moment and be ready to the best that you can, because you don't know how many chances you get, and so just be ready when your opportunity arrives.
Football, you only play around 10 games, give or take, on a normal season. So your memories are gonna come in the off season. You have over 100 practices per year, whether that's winter workouts, track and field in the spring, summer workouts, and of course, during the season practices. You have hundreds of opportunities to get better, to make memories, just to be with the guys. So please appreciate that and don't miss a day. Coming from somebody who missed 7 days total in his high school football experience, you just don't want to miss days. The memories are made off the field just as much as they're made on the field.